guys, it's Jen and I'm back with another process video using my Felicity Jane kits. I am cutting up these photos here, trimming them down. I'm using 3 photos today. One is a selfie and then the other 2 are photos that I screen captured off the internet. So one of them is just a screen capture of a news website, and then the other one is a stack of newspapers. And my title on my layout today is I Don't Read the News, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. I'm using some, like I said, my Felicity Jane kits. I just keep them all together in my iris container, and I am going ahead and pulling out some of the things I might want to use. I'm going to back that whole layout on some white cardstock, but before I do that, I'm going to use this pattern paper with the lines on it that I super love, and to separate it from the white cardstock, I'm just backing that on a little bit of black cardstock. So I'll go ahead and center that on the layout. Now, I knew I wanted to use a lot of black and white to just play up the whole newsprint kind of theme, and then also I knew I wanted it to be kind of grid style and kind of linear. And I'll also use some kind of office themed products. So I am going to use those chipboard alphabets that are black and white striped for the word news. And the word news is kind of resting on top of that bottom photo. There's a little space underneath that I need to take care of, but I'll do that in a minute. And I'm just lining it up with the black line on the paper. And I'm going to use this die from We Are Memory Keepers. It's called High Rise, and it is a really cute alphabet. It's tall and thin, and I really like that. And I remembered that I had some adhesive backed cardstock that came in a past kit in this aqua color, and I knew that that was going to be one of the pops of color that I wanted to include, and so I'm using that to cut my letters out. And I'm just cutting the whole alphabet once, and then I'm going to cut up some scraps to cut out the additional letters that I need to spell out the rest of my title. And I love this adhesive backed cardstock in combination with a die. It works perfectly. So I'm just using my Big Shot to cut out those letters, and I apologize for being a little off screen here, but I think you can understand what I'm doing. And like I said, I am keeping in mind that I need to place something under the word news so it doesn't kind of fall off that shelf there, if you will. And so I will pull in some of the die cuts from the Felicity Jane kits here in just a minute. So just getting those last couple of letters cut, and then I will get those placed down. So like I said, I'm using the adhesive backed cardstock, and I started putting down the rest of my title, and then I realized I wanted it to be kind of centered. And so what I'm going to do is use some wax paper to lay it out before I place it down, just so I can make sure I get the placement right. Excuse me, sorry about that. So I'm just placing that on the wax paper, and I'm going to place that word I don't above the words watch the. And I love this font because it has punctuation, so that apostrophe was in there, which is nice. You don't always get that. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting a little bit derailed from what I was doing before, and I'm moving up to the top, and I'm placing some little tabs at the top, and I'm going to go back to the title and place that down. And so like I said, the word news is resting on that line, which means that the rest of the words have to rest a little bit above it, and so they're not exactly even with the lines, if that makes sense. And that's fine with me. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that black piece to the back of that white cardstock, and then if you noticed, I only put adhesive in the center because I know I'm going to tuck those tabs and different things into the top, so I wanted to leave myself room for that. So here I found a tag that I'm pretty sure I'm going to place below that word news to the left of the photo. And now I'm playing with some little paper clips. Well, one big paper clip and one tiny paper clip. I really actually love the way that big paper clip looks, but I don't end up using it. So I'm going to have to make sure that I pull that out for a future layout because I really love the way that looks. I'm using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to place those letters down and in the fine line bottle. So you buy the, I've heard questions about this. You buy the fine line bottles separately from the glue, and then you can put whatever glue you want into that bottle. So it's really awesome. I'll make sure to link to that in the description below, as well as over on my blog. So I'm just taking a little bit of string to put through the hole on that tag, and then I'm going to place and arrange my little tabs here at the top. And I decided that I wanted to bring in a little pop of that soft pink color. So I just have a few die cuts with that color on them that I'm going to include. I don't end up using that geotag, but it's cute. So like I said, I just pulled out a bunch of different die cuts that I thought would work, and then I'm just playing around with them to see what I want to use. There's a little vellum arrow that's super cute, and I'm going to use that up above my photo. And I'm going to use that word today because I thought like kind of today's news and the arrow together. And so that'll be like a little cluster down at the bottom. So I knew I wanted to bring a little more pink up to that top left part because I have a tab at the upper right corner. And then I have the today little label at the bottom. So I wanted to bring a little shot of that pink to the top left. So I'm just going through the die cuts again to see what else I can find. And I found that little ampersand with the flag below it. You'll see, I'm going to cut that up right now, and I'll use that little banner piece. I like the ampersand too, but I just didn't feel like the ampersand had anything to do with the layout today. So I folded over that little banner piece on the top, and it's a really nice little detail, the fact that it's folded over rather than just cut off, and I stapled it down. So I really like the way it looks. And now I'm going to adhere those tabs at the top, and I know that I want to do some stamping. So I'm pulling out various stamps from different months. The stamps in these kits are my favorite thing about the kits. Well, maybe, but they are so cute, and I like stamping on my layouts, so I pull them out every chance that I can. I am using some Prima chalk ink, and I'm using the color, let me just look in my drawer here, Attic Dust. And it's a nice soft gray. It's got a little tiny tinge of green to it. It's like a clay color, which is the same color as that little arrow die cut, so it worked perfectly. And I'm also using, I don't usually use Distress ink for stamping, but that Tattered Rose color of Distress ink, that's my absolute favorite that I pull out on almost every layout, matches this pink color really wonderfully. And so I stamped the little push pin up at the top with that Tattered Rose ink. I think I'm going to have to invest in an ink color that's like that Tattered Rose color, but it's not a Distress ink. So if you have any suggestions, does Simon Says Stamp have an ink color they recently came out with that's that light pink? I don't know. I'm stamping the word daily on that tab in that same Attic Dust Prima chalk ink. And then I'm going to arrange those tabs. So I liked the idea of the tabs because it's just kind of office-y, and then the push pin as well. And I'm going to pull up that tab to stamp the date on it. I found my Chamel roller date stamp, which I lost, but I just put it in the drawer instead of in my little... Anyway, I put it in a different place. But I was happy I found it because that's my favorite date stamp. So I stamped the date. And now I'm going to adhere that tag, and I stamped Just Saying below it because it's kind of like, I don't watch the news, just saying. And now I'm going to adhere that little cluster at the bottom, and I'm going to staple that as well. So I've stapled my arrow, and I folded it over the top of the picture just like I did with the banner, and then I stapled that word today so that there's staples in 3 different places. I really like to make sure that I have things in several areas on the layout techniques, the same techniques. So I'm stamping True Story in this that same gray ink, and I like the idea of the story because news is a story, and it's a true story that I don't watch the news. So while I'm cutting that out, I'll just tell you briefly, because I'm going to do the journaling here in a second, why I don't watch the news. It's not because I don't want to be well informed or anything like that, or that I think it's boring, but the news just makes me sad. It makes most of what you see on the news is like murders and kidnappings and horrible politicians, and the news makes me cry and I hate it, and I just feel bad for people and I can't let it go. So I do not watch the news. I kind of figure if I need to know, someone will tell me, or I'll see it on social media if it's something really big and important. So that's, or my husband will tell me, but that's how I get my news. I just can't handle it. I'm too emotional, I guess, which is, yeah, anyway, I'm a wimp that way, but it's part of who I am, and that's why I wanted to document this story, because that is that is one thing that everybody knows about me, that knows me really well, is that I don't watch the news because it's too sad. And so that's a big part of who I am. So I wanted to make sure I got that documented. So I encourage you, if there's a personality trait or some quirk of your own that kind of makes you who you are and that people know about you, document it. I didn't have a photo for this, but I just had this selfie, and then I grabbed the other photos off the internet, and it works. So while I was blabbering on, I stamped the words blah 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 on the today little tab. It fit in perfectly right there, and that's from one of the Felicity Jane stamp sets. And then I stamped the truth and details with some of my roller date stamps, and I'll try to remember to link to the correct ones for that. Now I'm using my Muji pen and writing out the journaling, which I kind of just explained to you. And this paper is perfect for writing on because it's lined. And so, yeah, I'm just writing out about how I don't watch the news, I don't read the news, and I already told you why that is, and that's what I'm writing down. So, and then at the end, I kind of wrote, no news is good news, right? Because I kind of figure if I don't hear about it, then it wasn't that important. So that is my philosophy on the news. Love me or hate me for it. So yeah, there you go. So that Muji pen is my best friend. I talk about it every time I use it. It's just a really nice pen. I like it a lot. So after I do my journaling, which I apparently have a lot to say about my journaling, I'm going to write one more line. So I do leave a few lines at the bottom, because if you'll notice at the top, there are a few empty lines. And so I kind of like the balance of having a few empty lines on either side. I'm taking some gray enamel dots that we got in a previous kit, and then I have these soft pink enamel dots and these soft blue enamel dots that I got in the Michael's dollar bins, and I am using those for this as well. And I just put a few in my clusters, and I'm just sprinkling a little bit of Heidi Swapp Black Color Shine, and that is going to complete the layout. If you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment below. I'll post links to all the products that I use that were not included in the kits, and over here as well as over on my blog. And if you have any questions, be sure to check out my blog, because I'll have more information there as well. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.